are we headed with Bonds and Clemens? They got a little bump this go around, Johnny.
Well, we're going to a different era now. It's an era thing that these writers are now a little bit more forgiving. I think they're understanding that baseball itself made the mistake when drugs were starting to show up and there wasn't the drug testing. And I think that was, a protection for the Players. The Players Association put it off for a couple of years. I think that's a reason maybe that Marvin Miller is not in the Hall of Fame. I think that he's looked at as saying, if he would have come in, we would have stopped all the coke, all the marijuana and all the stuff and done all the testing early enough that it may not have led to anything else. It was a very gray area as far as what you can take. I mean, Mark McGwire never took anything illegal as far as baseball, edicts were concerned, but he was probably punished as much as anyone. And then Roger just by, I asked Roger point blank. I said, Roger, did you take? No, I did not. And
do you believe him?
It's hard to believe him. Sure, it's hard to believe. I mean, it's, bodies change. I remember if you look at Hank Aaron when he came into the league in Milwaukee, he weighed 165 pounds or something like that. In Atlanta, his forearms were bigger than my legs. Would you ever associate Hank with any of that?
No,
of course not. We all grow. Pete Rose was 145, 150 pounds. He was 200. It's just we do grow. We do. We weren't in that situation where we had any weights or any Ibex or Nautilus or anything else in our locker room. We never had that. That was never allowed as far as the free weights because it would bind you. It would make you too strong across the chest and make you muscle bound and everything else. So we never had that. And then I still think it's the blender era. I think that when guys got enough money to hire their own personal trainer, they got in there and say, I want to work on this. I want this muscles. I want this pack and everything else. Is, well, here, let's put all this powder into your blender and we'll make protein and we'll go to GNC, which half the stuff at that time, had HGH in it. And they would do it. And then they'd say, well, how come he's bigger than I am?
Yeah.
Well, he's taking a couple of creams and he's doing a couple of shots. Well, can I get those? And all of a sudden, you're hitting 15 home runs, and the next year you're hitting 50, and you're getting 13 to 15 million.
Would you have voted?
The guys who took it.
Would you have voted for Bonds or Clemens yesterday?
Yeah.
Both.
I would.
No?
I mean, I think their careers, even before they were doing it, and it takes a long time to make a career, but even before those things were done, they were Hall of Famers. Before they even association or even in the suspicion of that. I think we're at that point now where we understand that, guys are always trying to get ahead. Everything's kind of performance enhancing as far as whatever we do in the clubhouse now. I've been totally against it. I think you look at it on a broader basis and say, okay, guys, this is, have we gone far enough with this? These guys, in a lot of ways, Sosa and McGwire saved baseball. I mean, there was nothing. If you had a World Series ticket, okay, I'm going to the World Series. If you had a ticket to go see Mark McGwire, that's all you thought about.
Yeah.
You watched him the time he got out and what he did for the game and everything else. And, it's the association. I just wish, at some point they said, I mean, Alex Rodriguez admitted it, and Pettit admitted it a little. It takes forever for anybody. Nobody can tell the truth anymore because we still have the O.J. Simpson, deny. But I think for what they did to the game, for what we really believe in them and how really great of players they were, and they were great from the time they stepped onto the diamond, that maybe we have, gone a little to the leaning side, and I think we're seeing that in the voting. I mean, Jeff Bagwell was associated, but not associated. It was whispered. It was whispered about a lot of different
And Mike
players.
Piazza.
Yeah, there were whispers. There were shadows. And that's, how do you ever, I know that when I was like 21 or something, 20 or 21, and, all of a sudden there were some things in the paper that, a reporter in Cincinnati wrote. And I was talking to my lawyer. I said, how can they do this? He was my best friend anyway. I said, look at this. We were just chatting. He said, let me tell you something. Never argue with a man who buys ink by the barrel.